Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more home defense testing, and today we've definitely got another very interesting load to test out. We've tried it once before a long while back on the channel, but through a much more hunting oriented setup. So now that I've got a shorter barrel, more tactical or defensive style combination, we're definitely going to put it to the test and see what it can do in some up close and personal type of situations. But as for the shell we're going to run today, I brought out some of these, the Winchester Defender shells. These ones are a 12 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, 1 ounce slug with 3 double-aught buck pellets sitting on top, moving at about 1150 feet per second. Very interesting loading here with a slug and buckshot stacked like that. You can see here on the back the little diagram how you've got the double-aught on top of the slug, and it does say we have some buffer material in there as well. These did perform very nicely through the more hunting oriented setup when we tested it through the 1187, but now we're going to run it through an actual legit defensive style combination, so we'll see what it does. But as for that setup we're going to run them in, I brought out my Remington 870. This one's set up your classic defensive way, a shorter 18.5-inch barrel. It's a completely smooth bore, cylinder choke, just your classic short stubby little Remington 870 defensive oriented combination. So this should give us a very good idea on what these are capable of through a more tactical type of setup this time. As for today's test, we're going to run it the same as we usually do with these more defensive oriented combos. We're going to take 5 shots ranging from 7 to 25 yards. So 7, 10, 15, 20, and 25. That distance should give us a very good idea on what these are capable of in a wide variety of situations. These are supposed to be dead on with the slug and have the 3 double-aught buck pellets surrounding it in a nice kind of triangle or star shape. They did well last time, so I expect to continue to see some decent results from them today as well. And of course, all of our shots will be through the chronograph so we can get our velocity from this shorter barrel. So let's get you guys a view of those targets and see what these are actually capable of through a more defensive oriented setup. Alright, so let's take a quick peek at our velocities here real quick before we go look at our targets. The boss claim for those was 1150, however we did not see that. Chances are they probably ran them through a 20-inch barrel or something like that, since we were just under that 1100 mark from this 18.5-inch. But for a high we had 1077, for a low we had 1050, and that gave us an average at 1067. So not quite 100 feet per second below their claim, but still in a defensive scenario, that's more than enough for a 1 ounce slug and 3 double-aught buck pellets. And I did calculate the energy for the entire load, slug and pellets included. Assuming you're up close and personal and hit him with the slug and all 3 double-aught pellets, you're looking at 1560 roughly foot-pounds of muzzle energy. Plenty enough to do the job, that's for sure. But let's head down to our targets and see how they actually patterned at those different ranges. Alright, so now let's take a look at our actual targets at some different ranges and see how these actually patterned out. So we'll start here up close and personal, in the same room, 7 and 10 yards. Over here on the right is our 7-yard shot. You can see I circled all of the hits there because it's a little bit confusing since we have a bunch of little like paper and fiberboard strikes and stuff like that, all the little packing they had in that shell. And you can even see some of it in that center slug hole still there as well. Either way, we had one center slug hole in the middle and the 3 surrounding it. Farthest 2 points across are 5 3/4 inches. So yep, that's absolutely capable at 7 yards. Nothing out of the ordinary there, nothing unexpected. Moving over, we had a couple more little wad strikes or paper strikes, even though these don't have a wad in them. It's just little cardboard and stuff like that. And our 10-yard performance here looks pretty similar overall. It's the exact same shape, exactly how they say it's supposed to be on the box with the little pictures and stuff. You got a slug hole right in the middle and 3 pellets surrounding it, and once again we had a little bit of a paper cardboard strike down there at the bottom buckshot hole. Either way, 7 1/4 inches are the farthest 2 across. Still absolutely capable. In at 7 and 10 yards, that's a perfect performance overall. That's exactly what they're supposed to do, and I wouldn't hesitate to use that combo at all. But now we'll move over here to our 15-yard target, and we definitely started to open it up. Our 10 yards was 7¼ inches, and just 5 more yards, we've pretty much doubled that at 14 inches. We still have the same exact perfect little shape that they advertise on the box. Slug hole in the middle, 3 buckshot around it, and 14 inches of spread. That spray paint figure of mine might be just an inch or two narrow compared to what I normally spray them at. My art skills weren't that great today, but that would still absolutely be capable. However, you can definitely start to see if you're not perfectly centered up in the center mass, you may have a buckshot pellet or two start to miss around the target. So that is something to keep in mind. Still, out to 15 yards, it would be more than effective. And moving out here to our 20-yard target, it looks very similar to our 15. We still have the exact same shape, exactly how they're supposed to look, but we only picked up about an inch on the buckshot spread, 15 inches there. Still, it's pretty much right on that line where if you're center mass, you're probably going to be hitting them with everything in the load, but if you're a little bit off, you're definitely going to have a buckshot pellet or two miss to his side or over his shoulder or something of that nature. Either way, 20 yards out to the driveway or something, still plenty of effective. So now we'll move over here to our 25-yard target, and we definitely started to open the spread up again, that's for sure. It's still holding that nice kind of triangular shape, slug right in the middle, 3 buckshot pellets surrounding it. So that is one thing these shells do very well. They advertise it, and it actually does perform how they advertise. But we did open it up to 21 inches of spread at this point, and you can really see here how if we were off just a little bit, we would probably only be hitting them with the slug and 1 buckshot pellet. So is a 1-ounce slug at almost 1100 feet per second still going to be effective out here at 25 yards on an intruder? Oh yes, absolutely. I would not want to stand in front of that load at all. So at this point, especially once you get to 20 yards and beyond, you're pretty much just relying on that slug, and if you're not perfectly center, you have a buckshot pellet or 2 maybe to give you a little more wiggle room side to side as pretty much an insurance policy. That's still going to be more than effective, especially if you like to use slugs for your home defense shotgun. This load would not be a terrible idea. You still got a slug going dead center here, and they're pretty accurate too. I mean, they were center mass on every target here, but it does give you a little bit of assurance with those extra buckshot pellets. If you were to be a little bit off center or whatever, you could still catch them with a pellet or 2. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about this performance right here? I think at this point we've probably pretty well covered it. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. That's exactly how they were supposed to look based on what the box shows and the pictures and stuff like that. And it would be more than effective. So if you're one that likes to use slugs in your home defense shotgun, these might be a very good option for you. The slugs seem to be perfectly accurate, at least out to 25 yards. You can still hit center mass with it, but they do give you those extra couple buckshot pellets as an insurance policy if you're not quite centered up on your shot. So for some people, that can definitely be a pretty enticing option. Overall, it's a solid performance. Not really much to complain about there. This load is just probably going to be one that comes down to personal preference. If you want a load like this is a good option. But there's nothing wrong with a plain old double-aught buck load inside of the same room in your house either. The intruder's not really going to be able to tell the difference. So leave all your thoughts down below. Is it about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Winchester Defender, Slug, and double-aught loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen from it? Is this a shell that you would actually use in a home defense scenario? Or would you prefer just to have a slug or just to have buckshot? And what other defensive-oriented shells do you want to see us run through that 870? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it. But I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.